Here, Right Honorable Winnie Kiza, distinguished guests, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. I want to salute our parliamentary team for work very well done. I was listening both with gladness but also with anger as the leader of opposition was speaking to us. I've had the opportunity to quickly go through the write-ups of the alternative budget, and I was, in real sense, comparing the ideal and the real. That is definitely ideal. And if we do things that way, we can be able to revolutionize every sector in our country. But unfortunately, we have the real to grapple with. We have the reality to deal with here. Nothing encourages, like the theme of today, combating corruption, a sure way of effective service delivery. Yes, combating that corruption. And I'll quote one eminent leader that we have in this country, Mzee Mayengo, Israel, who was speaking a few weeks ago. He said, and I agree with him, that back in the day, President Obote noted that the problem of Uganda and Africa generally is reduced into three things. That is poverty, that is ignorance, and disease. And he was spot on. Today, Mzee Mayengo reduced the problem in Uganda. It is no longer poverty, ignorance, and disease, but it is centrally corruption, because corruption is the center of all this. I want to salute our parliamentary front for the continued fight. And ladies and gentlemen, indeed, there's no better place to talk about corruption than here, the Parliament of Uganda, which has distinguished itself in recent days as the high temple of corruption. I hate to use those words, but if we are to deal with the problem, then understanding it and addressing it in reality is the first step. This parliament has had the most outrageous scandals recently. In recent times, we've seen the Speaker of Parliament with impunity siphoning taxpayers' money. In recent days, we have seen this parliament doing unprecedented things. We've seen in this parliament the Speaker of Parliament and government ministers sharing iron sheets meant for the poorest of the poor in Uganda. It is in this parliament that we've seen the leader of opposition rewarded before he works. It was in this parliament where we saw that so-called service award. And it is this parliament that provoked the conscience of even our young people. We all remember the young people of this nation getting up and deciding to have a march to parliament. Many of them were arrested, as you read in the newspapers, tortured, and even sodomized for daring to counter corruption. For those young people that were trying to make their way to parliament and failed, I thought that maybe today I could try to be their spokesperson, to be their mouthpiece, and say to you what those young people were not able to say. Friends, corruption, I think, has become cliche. It has become, corruption is too cool a name to give to what is being done. A while ago, the head of Transparency International defined corruption, and I agree with him, as the cold and calculated robbery of a people's future, of people's opportunities. And I agree, because it is corruption that has stolen the future of the people of Uganda. Many of you who are under 50 have seen that corruption has robbed all your youthful and useful days from you. Corruption has stolen the vision of Uganda from the people of Uganda. I could go on and on and on about corruption, since we Ugandans all know that our country ranks number 140 out of 180 countries, the most corrupt. That means we're only 40 countries shy from the corruption trophy. A situation where we lose almost half of the revenue collected in Uganda. That corruption should be, looked at as a corruption in crisis level. We are in trouble because of corruption. The Inspector General of Government, the current one, Betty Kamya, who we expect to most understand corruption, defined it, simplified it a few weeks ago in an online video, and I agree with her. She once again told us that we lose to the tune of 10 trillion. I believe it could be more to corruption. But again, she goes further to break it down to us and tell us that out of the 45.9 million Ugandans, it is only 350,000 Ugandans that are in that circle. Now, these are not the people controlling the country or our economy. These are just a group of people that I would call enablers, including some of you members of parliament, including all the people that are being used. But again, she goes further to show us that a small group of people that are even 10% or less of the enablers, that is roughly 35,000 people. This is a small group of people that is milking the entire country, and we all know these are the people that have decided that our country is supposed to go down the drain. Let us imagine what 10 trillion can do. A little while ago, we were imagining what that money can do if corruption was stamped out. 10 trillion lost every year. Imagine what that money can do to our road network. Imagine what that money can do to our hospitals and health centers. Imagine if we set out to use that money to transform our schools. Unfortunately, that money goes to a few. So as we stand here, ladies and gentlemen, we should reflect on so many things that have been said. Otherwise, we'll continue saying it and saying it and saying it. Recently, we lost one of Uganda's international journalists, Shaka Sari, and he was quoted to have said that one of the biggest achievements of the Museveni regime is institutionalizing corruption. And that is true, because we all can realize that corruption is a currency in this regime. Corruption is used to reward the corrupt and to silence or even eliminate those that are fighting it. It is the sure way of General Museveni to hold on to power. And now we are at this parliament. I can even dare say that this our parliament has also been reduced. This our parliament, just like the Museveni regime, it attracts the worst of characters and corrupts the best. It is my hope and prayer that our leadership here will not be compromised like it was a while ago. So I want to implore all of you, friends, that you are supposed to be the voice of those people, the majority, that are overtaxed but receive zero or very limited services from the government. I want all of you to know that it is possible if you stand firm. It is hard to stand firm. Our leader of opposition said one time, and I agreed with him, that when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. I just want to assure you, friends, that for those of you who fight corruption, you will never fight alone. We, the people of Uganda, will stand with you. We will back you up. We will fight with you. And as we are taught, a people united cannot be defeated. You won't be defeated. Finally, friends, I also want to mention that corruption, on a close analysis, is but just a symptom of a bigger problem. And that problem is misrule. That problem is dictatorship. That problem is a rulership, not a leadership. A rulership that has no account, that does not feel obliged with the people and is not answerable to the people. Friends, when you see flies hovering over a mess, you don't just spray the flies. You remove the mess and the flies will go away. We need to remove this dictatorship and corruption will be history. Thank you very much for God and my country.